Welcome in to Lock In Live for College Football Week 5 with Uncle Phil and the Railbird. Thanks for joining us this Saturday morning. Uncle Phil, Railbird, how y'all doing?
Man, doing great. I mean, this is a big day, and I thought about earlier in the week, I was like, what are my picks going to be like? And this week, I literally had to cut them down. My big board probably started with about 20, 25 as normal, but I really couldn't get it down past 12. So the notebook is heavy today. I've got the notebook at 10 picks today. So if you ever think about buying the notebook, this weekend's a good weekend because you're going to get a lot of value for your money because it was just hard for me to cut it down because I love this weekend. Railbird, what about you? Do you feel the same way about this weekend?
Yeah, I kind of echo those sentiments, Phil. I had probably 20 to 22 games on my sheet initially. My sheet today now has the games worth 11 units on it, and I have another 2 or 3 games bet myself. I didn't include on the sheet, and there's still 2 or 3 games later on today that I'm going to play, waiting on a line move and see if that happens. If not, I'm playing them anyway. So there's games in each window today. That's what I like about today. The 11 o'clock, the 2:30, the 6:30, big games all day long.
Absolutely. It should be a great day of football. Well, guys, before we jump in to your picks, just want to reflect on last week. Uncle Phil, I know you had a solid week. Same with you, Railbird. Uncle Phil, I know you hit your bonus pick for another college football Saturday. You know, what's contributing to some of your success, and how are you going to carry that forward as we kind of get into the heart of the football season?
Yeah, look, man, I think it's a great question. Like, I'm really, for me, some people are technical people, and we kind of talked about this in the past, where they're seeing, where they're like, oh, there's reverse line movement, and they're doing this kind of from technical analysis. I'm more of a fundamentalist. I have to see teams play, and I literally watch games all day Saturday, all day Sunday, and for me, I glean from that information and then review the games, sometimes even watch them twice. And so for me, that gives me information, certainly against better competition. And as we're getting more information and watching these teams play better competition, it's giving me more information. Like today, we're going to know a lot about Alabama, Georgia today. We're going to know who's for real. We're going to know a lot about Ole Miss, LSU, who's for real, who's not. We're going to know a lot about Oregon, Penn State, who's for real, who's not. All these things that you look for in these teams and in these games, you can do that. And so I'm starting to get that information. Like I said, my picks are heating up, and it's really because of that. So I expect this to be a really, really good weekend. I typically don't give more than 6 picks out on college in my notebook, and I just feel like that. That we have a better shot than not to hit these 10 picks today. So that's why I gave those, and I'm pretty excited. Railbird, what about your process? What's contributing to you? I mean, I know that neither one of us started the way we'd want to, but it looks like kind of heating up at the right time. We've got lots of college football left. What's contributing to your success right now?
I think you said a lot there, Phil. A lot of it is the more information, the more data points that we have on each team as they play better competition or competition that are at their own level. It's never easy. I don't want to say it's easy, but it is easier to have some type of fundamental edge maybe that we try to get each week on each team. The games that you mentioned, I'm really looking forward to seeing this LSU Ole Miss game today. I don't have a pick on it, but I'm not sure about LSU's offense versus Ole Miss's defense. That's really what I want to see. I think Ole Miss, their offense is pretty good. LSU defense is pretty good, but we get more information. The more information you have in anything, the easier it is to try to come up with a summary of what's going to happen.
Definitely. We already got questions for that game, so we'll get to those. But first, let's get to the picks. Uncle Phil, where are you heading first?
Yeah, for me, I am heading between the hedges. I'm going to Athens, Georgia, where Alabama's coming to town. Look, Kirby Smart is 1-6 against Alabama, but all those games have been away from Athens. They haven't been in Athens. This will be a different deal. It'll be a night game. But the problem with Georgia is Georgia's defensive line has not gotten one single sack all year long. That is unbelievable for a team and a program who consistently puts defensive linemen, and I mean not defensive linemen, but top-tier defensive linemen in the NFL. So, and you've seen the past couple of weeks when Ty Simpson gets time. You know, he didn't have much time against Florida State and looked really bad. Past couple of weeks, he's had, I know they're on a bye as well as Georgia last week, but the 2 weeks prior to that, he's had more time, and his completion percentage is darn near 90%. So, again, he'll have time today. I'm going to take the better quarterback, and I think Monday morning you have Ty Simpson at the top of the Heisman list. Give me Alabama plus 2.5 today between the hedges tonight. And then second pick is I'm going to stay between the hedges. And again, these two teams have had a bye week, so these offensive coordinators have had extra time to come up with game plans to attack these defenses. And it's going to be very easy for them to attack these defenses because both these teams are bottom 10 in pressure rates. And so both these quarterbacks should have time. So I expect them to go up and down the field as well. 53.5 seems to be a shoe-in. Give me the over 53.5 as my second best bet. And like I said, there are about 6 others. I mean, I've got 10 in my notebook, but I've got about 6 others that I thought would be as far as my best bets as well today. But those are my 2 strongest plays. You're going to get to have all of them all wrapped up into one game tonight. So let's get after it. Lang, what about you, buddy?
My first best bet, my first bet I made this week, last Sunday when here in Arkansas the lines came out, is I'm going to Fayetteville, the Arkansas-Notre Dame game, over the total. I got it at 62.5. I think it's maybe 64.5 now. I would still play it up to 65. I just don't see a lot of stops coming in the Arkansas-Notre Dame game today. We talked right before we came on, how can this game stay under? Obviously, if it's turnovers or missed field goals, or maybe Notre Dame can just run the ball all day and the clock keeps ticking. But I don't – when Arkansas gets the ball, I can't see Notre Dame holding Arkansas under 28 to 31 points. I think Notre Dame is going to get in the 30s as well. Over 64.5. That is my top pick today in this game. My second best bet, we're going down to Starkville, Mississippi tonight. Tennessee against Mississippi State. I'm backing the Vols here. They kind of got the Georgia game out of their system last week against UAB and a beat down. Josh Heupel, whenever he can put a hurting on somebody, he will. We'll see if that can happen tonight against Mississippi State. I know they had a big win a few weeks ago against Arizona State. I had Mississippi State in that game, but I think Arizona State kind of gave the game a little bit to Mississippi State. In the first half, Mississippi State got to a 17-0 lead because of turnovers from Arizona State. Once they cleaned that up in the second half, Arizona State stormed back, took the lead. Then they had a busted coverage, 60-yard touchdown pass in the last 30 seconds for Mississippi State to win. I really like this Tennessee offense. I liked what they did against Georgia a couple weeks ago. I think they put up big points tonight and cover the line against Mississippi State. Give me Tennessee. I have them at -7. Take them at -7.5. I believe that's what it is now.
So just to repeat, you've got Tennessee minus the points at Mississippi State tonight, and then you've got the Arkansas Notre Dame over as your 2 best bets. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right. We love it. All righty. Good stuff, guys. Let's get to the questions. We got a ton of them, so let's rapid fire our way through them. Staying on that Notre Dame Arkansas game, CJ Adler wants to know, Uncle Phil, what are your thoughts on the over under on that one?
On the Arkansas Notre Dame game?
Correct.
Yeah, that one's in my notebook, so I can't really talk about it.
Yeah.
So I apologize. Hopefully you certainly got Lang's take on it. It should be an interesting game. It'll be a fun game to watch.
Sweet. Let's keep it rolling. We got Nicholas McCoy on X. He says, "Crush the man Thursday, Uncle Phil. Thank you." He has a question. Is Ole Miss money line a lock?
Is Ole Miss
money line a lock?
Money line a lock. See, I'm kind of with Lang on this one. Like, look, I really want to know who these teams are, and I don't think we will. I think one of these teams will come out and say I'm a contender, and the other one will say I'm a pretender after this game. And I think we'll really know the end of this. And so I'm not sure that we know LSU's that good because they beat a Clemson team that's clearly bad this year. And then they beat Florida, and we've seen how DJ Lagway is just terrible. And again, they put up a good fight. Florida put up a good fight with them in that game. I think DJ Lagway had like 5 interceptions or something against LSU. So again, I'm not sure who LSU is. One thing I like about LSU this year is they've moved Harold Perkins back to his natural position the way he was as a freshman. Really good to see that guy because that guy deserves to be playing on Sundays. And the way they had him last year was just out of position. So I'm interested to see that. I'm interested in seeing Nussmeier. I just don't think either one of these teams are really – they just blow me away. So we'll see how this works. I don't have a real strong opinion on this. I know Lane Kiffin came out this week and said take the over in the game. Again, I don't know if he was talking the over in that game or if he was talking the over in his relationship, his daughter's relationship with the LSU's star middle linebacker. So I'm not real sure. I'm staying away from it. But Lang, do you have any thoughts on this game at all, buddy?
Yeah, I do a weekly radio spot here in Arkansas, and when I analyzed this game there on Thursday, it came down to me is which of the 4 units did I trust the most, and that's probably LSU's defense. And I said I would probably I'm not betting the game, but I would probably take LSU if you put a gun to my head. Since then, I've kind of changed my tune a little bit, and LSU's running back is out. LSU can't run the ball. Nussmeier's going to be having to shoulder the whole load himself. Trinidad Chambliss has added an extra gear to Ole Miss's offense, I think, and his scrambling around kind of reminds me of Kyler Murray back there. He's a little bigger, but that's just an element that LSU's defense might not. You can account for off script plays like that, and maybe that tilts it toward Ole Miss. I said it's going to be a fascinating game for me to watch. I don't necessarily have a pick on it, or there's no way I'm betting it.
You went through a lot of analysis to come at the end just to say
I don't know. Say I don't know.
Well, maybe a live betting opportunity.
Yeah,
that's
certainly.
True. That's true.
Yeah, totally agree.
You give me either team plus 7, that's who I'll take.
Yeah.
Sweet. All right, let's keep it rolling, man. We got a lot of questions today. Dalton Lehman on X says thoughts on Pitt as a home underdog coming off a bye.
I don't know that I have a strong pick on Pitt today. Do you have anything on that game?
Well, this one is kind of a take from a couple weeks ago. I'm still mad at Pitt. I had Pitt in the backyard brawl a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
They allowed a tie touchdown to West Virginia in the last 30 seconds and lost in overtime for me. So I got a little grudge to hold against Pitt right now. Outside of that, I don't have a lot on this game today. Obviously, Louisville is the better team. Will they be the better team today? We'll see. I'm staying away from this one. Was
that Pitt's first loss of the season?
I believe so.
Yeah, typically when you have, especially in college teams, you have a loss. All the kids think they're going undefeated, right? No matter who you are, and then their first loss of the year, especially early in the season, gets to be a little hard on them and snowballs. Wouldn't be surprised at all if they do not cover this game tonight, because that's typically kind of what happens in these early games where they lose their very first game. usually there's a hangover, and you end up having West Virginia beat you again twice in this consecutive weeks. So I would certainly stay away from that game from a Pitt perspective, because it's really tough for these 18-year-old kids to get over losses like that.
Definitely. All right, let's keep going. We got Andrew in Dallas. He says, I'm heading to the South Carolina-Kentucky game tonight. Which side should I drink with in Columbia and bet on?
Man, I thought you only went to SMU and Mississippi State games. Good to hear from you, Andrew. I personally, I like Kentucky in that game. I do. I just don't think, I'm still not convinced South Carolina is that good. And I think Kentucky, they had a bye week last week, so I think they've got a little extra time to prepare. I'd go with Kentucky. It's not in my notebook. It's not one of my best bets. But it was a fringe pick for me, but I would go with Kentucky. Lang, any thoughts on that game?
I'm with you, Phil. I don't have anything on this game. If I was, I would take the points and Kentucky. I have a position from the start of the season on South Carolina under their wins this year at 7.5, I believe. So obviously I'm going to be rooting for Kentucky so South Carolina can rack up another loss.
Sweet. All right. Hey, well, enjoy the game, Andrew, and thanks for the question. Thanks for joining us as always, every Saturday and Sunday morning.
Yep.
Next on the line, we got two questions from MP Affiliate and then one from ISOJ on X, and they want to know about Iowa, Indiana. So put MP up on the screen.
Yeah. MP, how you doing, buddy? I know it's a road game. That's where everybody's like, hey, we're going to see if Indiana's for real, and they're playing on the road. And, and a lot of people are saying it's going to be a lower scoring game and take the under. I don't know if I have a strong opinion on the total, but, again, this is what, Indiana does. Indiana beats these mid-level to low-level teams and just beats them into submission. It's the upper tier teams where, I can't get that out of my mind last year in the playoffs, how Indiana just kind of folded and Kurt Signetti kind of folded, after puffing his chest out all year. This is kind of a game that Indiana unloads on, and they look like a better team than last year. I think they cover the spread on this one. I would lean toward Indiana. Again, it's not one of my plays, not in a notebook, but I like Indiana in this game. I think this is the game that Indiana handles, and it's just kind of made for them. Lang, any thoughts on this game one way or the other?
Yeah, I like Indiana as well. I liked them last week as one of my best bets, one of the rocking chair best bets. What you're looking for, somebody favored by 7 and winning by 50. But what I saw from Iowa a week ago Friday night at Rutgers, wow, their defense is not up to par what it normally is with the Phil Parker defense. Rutgers was throwing the ball all over the field on them. A late cover by Iowa, but unless Indiana has a major hangover from the win last week going on the road, they're going to put up points on this Iowa team. Mendoza's looks like an NFL quarterback to me. I know he's the favorite for the Heisman now. I don't know about that, but I suspect he's going to throw for 250, 300 yards. It won't surprise me if he has 4 more touchdowns today against this Iowa defense that I saw last Friday night that did not look up to par.
Right.
All righty. Well, let's keep it rolling. Rapid fire style. Pierre with 2 questions in one. Kansas, Cincy, and Duke, Syracuse. Any thoughts on both those 2 games?
I like Cincinnati in this game just because the public is all over
Kansas.
Public's all over Kansas, and I like Cincinnati. Duke, Syracuse. I don't really have an opinion on this game. I don't like either one of these teams. I'll let you handle that one, Lane.
I have a lean on Kansas in that first game. I do not have a bet on it or anything. The Duke Syracuse game, I do have a bet on. I have Duke -4. I think it's 4.5 now, and I'm just going to make the Syracuse backup quarterback take my money today. Maybe he will. Maybe Duke wins and doesn't cover. But like Duke kind of got on track last week with their offense, I look for more scoring from Duke today. Syracuse defense not very good. I'm on Duke today, so that's where my money's at.
Yeah, big emotional win last week for Syracuse. Totally understand them coming down today. I just don't trust Duke, and they're going to have to show it to me for more than one game.
Definitely. Hey, Pierre, thanks for the questions.
Yep.
Thanks for joining us this morning. We got Andreas. Good to see you, Andreas. He's wondering about the Oregon-Penn State.
That one's all over my notebook. I can't talk about that one. I'll let Lang share his wisdom about it.
This is one that I'm waiting to bet today. I will have money on Penn State at some point. The line's at 3.5 right now. I keep waiting to see if it's going to go to 3. Maybe it doesn't. But before kickoff, I will have something on Penn State. And I've had, let's say, debates with Penn State fans, oddly, this week, telling me that I'm crazy for taking Penn State. And they keep spitting out James Franklin, 4-20 versus top 10 teams, 1-10 against top 5 teams and all that. And, I just keep saying, I don't care about that. Okay, that doesn't have anything to do particularly with this game tonight. What I do care about a little bit is that when Penn State is favored in the game in a regular season, they've won the game 34 straight times. That's hard to do. I don't care who you are. So the people that are always on, I get it. I mean, you don't win these top 20, top 10 games, but almost all the losses are to Michigan and Ohio State. There's nothing. I mean, there'd be a lot of people. So I'm not positive how good Oregon is yet. I know that Penn State hasn't shown as much as what they can. I think that they have a team that might be just playing with their food a little bit. They know that they're kind of waiting on the playoffs, waiting for the big games. Those first games didn't matter. Meanwhile, Oregon has to travel 3 time zones. Dante Moore needs to show something in a big game. It's a whiteout game. I think Penn State has covered the spread in 8 straight whiteout games. I'm taking Penn State tonight. Hopefully I can get -3. If not, I'm going to take it at -3.5.
Gotcha. Hey, well, thanks for that analysis, Railbird, and thanks for the question, Andres. We'll take one more question before we take off. There's so many good games today, and we got to get ready for them. The last question of the day, we're going to ISO J. Iowa State -4.5 over Arizona. I think he put an L there for their old team.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. Look, just not my game. There are plenty of other games out there that are good for me. It's just not one I was looking at all that caught my attention even earlier in the week. So I don't have an opinion on it. Lang, do you have anything on this one?
I do at a different number. It popped 7 at my book here early in the week, and I took Arizona plus the 7, 4.5. I wouldn't have taken Arizona at 4.5, but I don't want Iowa State at -4.5 either. It's kind of in a dead zone for me. Seems like Iowa State plays a lot of 3-point games all the time. This game seems like to me it could have 24, 21 written all over it. Yes, Arizona would still cover that number, but it's a little too close for my liking.
I'm with you. I totally agree. Iowa State games just kind of like that. I wouldn't be surprised if they covered. I wouldn't be surprised if they lost. There are about 20 other games that I see clear edges in that I'm on today, and of course 10 are in my notebook. So it just wasn't on my radar. But I appreciate the question.
Yep, thanks for the question, ISO. Yep. All right, well, we got one comment before we wrap up here. Apex on YouTube says, can we just appreciate how good of the games were last night? Hopefully foreshadowing to great games all day on this stack slate. What do you guys think?
Man, I couldn't agree more. Like typically some weekends are like that. Some weekends are duds and just like wasn't much there. I think this weekend's going to be a fireworks show, and I think last night was just a preview of that. Lang, what do you think?
I agree. Man, I was so close to pulling the trigger on Virginia plus the points. I didn't do it. Immediately, I regretted it when they jumped out 14-0. But then when it was tied at halftime, I was like, well, maybe I'm glad I don't have anything on this game. But it was just great to watch that game. Watch the TCU game late like that. They kind of coughed that up late. But Arizona's got that rabbit's foot with them. Boy, they keep slipping by in some of these games.
Yeah, they do. And certainly the nightcap, Houston pulled away. Oregon State covered the spread at Corvallis, but Houston got that last second field goal and walked it off. But look, really a great slate of games. Good one. I'm just mad I didn't bet the Virginia Florida State over. That's the one that I felt like got away from me last night. But Friday night's typically a night that I just kind of get in the lab and I'm up late till the wee hours of the morning, kind of working on the notebook. That's why on Saturday, you guys, most time you come in here and you see me and you're like, Uncle Phil, you look tired. I'm like, you're right. I'm right. I'm tired. And I was like, I'm up late. Friday night's my night to stay in the lab and get after it. But hey, guys, hey, Lang, remind everybody again what your two best bets today are.
Yeah, over Arkansas and Notre Dame over, let's call it 64. Yep. 64.5, still good. And Tennessee minus the 7.5 tonight against Mississippi State.
Yep, absolutely. You may even be able to get that down. Looks like some steam is coming in on Mississippi State, so you may be even be able to wait on that one, get even better line than that. Look, again, my best bets today are Alabama plus 2.5, and then the over 53.5 in that same game today. So, guys, hey, thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate you guys today. As always, guys, let's have a day, and as always, let's roll.